And the big red button is pushed. It says I'm live. Hello, hello. Am I live? Can you hear me? Can you see me? I know the lighting is not the usual lighting. The background is not the usual background. And I have about 40 other is not the usuals. But hi, everybody. Happy Friday. Happy Pi Day Friday. Happy drama. Happy dramas. Because Scott Jernigan is here working in the background, hiding in the shadows, doing what he does. And I have relocated for the day, and I will explain that all ever so shortly. But welcome to Pi Day Friday. Let me look at some notes here and see if anybody says I am audible. I slammed together a studio today. There we go. You look and sound great. Turn mic down a bit. That's the problem with this thing. I can turn it down, but I don't have any kind of meters or anything to tell me how good or bad it is. So I will just turn it down a micrometer, and let me know if it's horrible. If I need to turn it down more, it's down at this level of the volume of the gain knob. Such tiny, tiny little adjustments are actually huge. So if I move the knob a quarter of a degree, it's just gigundous. Well, at any rate, here we are. It's Friday. It's Pi Day. I am Dave Rush, Senior Instructor for Total Seminars and the resident Pi guy. And we're here. We get together every Friday at 2 o'clock Central Time, whether it's daylight time or regular standard time. We get together from about 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock, depending on how things go. Because for those of us who would like to continue our studies in CompTIA certifications and other certifications, but are stuck at home, this is an opportunity for us to get together and talk tech. The focus of this presentation is using the Raspberry Pi to further our studies in CompTIA A+ and Network Plus and IT Fundamentals and Security Plus and non-CompTIA stuff. And sometimes we do stuff with the Raspberry Pi just because it's cool. From where I'm at, I don't have any Raspberry Pis to stick one in front of everybody. Here's a stack of 5 of them. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they're a little crazy. I haven't done this in a while, so bear with me, those of you guys who are here with me every day. You know this, but people watch these on the archive, and it's new experience for a lot of new people as the week goes by. If we get 20 or 30 people watching today, we get 200 people who've watched it by the end of the week. So there's always something new. There's always a new face. And if you are a new face watching this on the archives, if the opportunity presents itself, join us live on Friday. We can take your questions live from the YouTube feed, and I'll talk about them. And we do projects here almost every week. I got a little project today. I had a big one in mind, but for the reason that I'm here, that project is going to get a little on the squish side. At any rate, back to where it was. So Raspberry Pi computers are these little credit card size, maybe a little bit bigger than a credit card size computer. It's got a quad core CPU in it, and they're available with 1 gig of RAM and 2 gigs of RAM and 4 gigs of RAM. And retail pricing on them goes anything from $35 plus a couple extra bucks for a power supply and a micro SD card and maybe a case if you got one in mind. Here's one that I 3D printed in the printer in one of the cubicles just down the aisle from me here. And I think in materials, it's got to be about 25 cents in the top and bottom of this thing, a couple of bucks worth of electricity, and then the price of the 3D printer, of course. And with that, what you've got is a computer that will run several flavors of Linux. There are commercially available ones, there are fully supported ones, and there's a lot of experimental versions out there. It's got a tremendous capability to expand. We can plug things into it. You can do electronics hobbyist work with it and learn electronics from it. You can learn Linux from it. And we use them to create tools that are useful to those folks who are studying for various CompTIA certifications. In many cases, they are obvious tools like servers, a file transfer protocol server, an FTP server, or an SMB server, another kind of file server, web servers, DNS servers, and lots of goodies like that. And we also do other projects with various clients. A couple of weeks ago, we did a VPN, a virtual private network, so you could call into your Raspberry Pi when you're on the road and access it. And you could use it once you've accessed it through this very private connection to access other resources within your home or business network. There's lots and lots and lots and lots and lots to do. All right, so that's me. I'm the senior instructor here. I normally do, at least I got hired to do stand-up training for various government law enforcement agencies, school systems, and things like that. But since the lockdowns have happened, that's been kind of dead. So I do a lot of other projects. And I have one on my plate right now that is taking away time that I would like to devote to here. But I'm telling you that I have spent 16 hours a day for the last 10 days or so, 10 working days, working on a company project and haven't had a great deal of time to do prep for today's show. That's how it goes. I am joined in spirit and in keyboard, at least, by my partner in Pi, Scott Jernigan. Scott Jernigan is the editor-in-chief for Total Seminars. He writes books with Mike Myers. He edits all of Mike Myers' books. He researches. He's an author in his own right. He wrote the IT Fundamentals book and others. And just an all-around great guy, a knowledgeable guy, an intelligent guy, a musical man, par extraordinaire. And he's also, 2000 is, I don't know, about 720 years old. We know that by the garb that he wears on weekends and the swords and the lutes that he plays. Scott's a big SCA guy. If you're not familiar, look that up. I'm not here to explain it to you. So this is an AMA. This is drama. Dave Rush, Ask Me Anything. Dave Rush, Ask Me Anything. And Scott, he's here too, because we want you to ask questions. Post them in the YouTube feed if you're watching this live. It can be Raspberry Pi. It can be CompTIA certification oriented, any kind of tech. It all goes except for religion and politics. We tend to shy away from those. Scott and I are really partisan in at least one of those areas. And our conversations used to be kind of light and airy. And as we've got to know each other over the many years that we've worked together now, they get nasty fast. So we've decided that pulling away from them is probably the better part of valor. If you're watching this not live, you're watching this on the archive, too late to post anything in the questions, but you can get in touch with myself or with Scott or with Mike Myers or with other people by email. So just send us an email and we will be glad to contact you back. Let me switch over to here. This put the studio together. My whole world is kind of upside down. Things aren't where they normally are and things will happen a little bit more slowly. But there's our contact page. You can catch me at the office or at my office email, daver@totalsem.com, because I'm Dave Rush. And Scott Jernigan is Scott J, because he's Scott Jernigan at totalsem.com. Let's say I didn't put it on here. If you want to write to Mike Myers himself, you can do that. Michael M at totalsem.com. You can also catch me at my personal email if you like, drushtx@yahoo. You can catch us on Steam. I'm BloodRushTX. Scott is Scarheart. And Mike is Senor Pepe, SENORPEPE, 2 words. Ask that you like and subscribe to this if you're watching live or if you're watching on the archive. It helps people find these videos and get answers to questions that they might have or be able to contact us via email. Yeah, okay, that's all I got on that page. So a little background. You may be wondering what's going on here today. Why am I here? And what's happened? So it goes something like this. We got a project assigned 10 days ago or so to create 15 kits that we provide to school systems and other organizations. This one is not going to school systems, it's going to an organization to help teach people computer skills to participate in the job market and for whatever other their motivations are. And these things, when we get them, we commit to a certain amount of time. It's X amount of weeks because we got to start gathering up the supplies and then building them out and then finally shipping them. Well, we got the order in and we got the instructions from on high. Hey, this one's a rush job. It's going to have to go out in a little quicker than our usual standard guarantee. And we all went, gasp. And okay, so let's do it. Let's get feet on the floor and hands on screwdrivers and start doing things and get things ordered. And then we ran into the problem that the whole rest of the planet is having supply chain issues. So among these things are video cards. We can't get video cards any more than anybody else, and suddenly we need 15 of them. And a whole bunch of other things. One of the things is foam dividers that we use in cases that we provide these things. It's made of a plastic foam. Well, plastic is a petroleum product, and that stuff is moving so slowly. And my guess is the petroleum that's going to make our plastic is still under the earth somewhere. And so we're waiting a long time for that. Let me show you a little bit about what this is going on, because there's something kind of cool here that I think some of you would like to see. This is what we call our build room. This, I set up a pair of stations with a power supply. There's a power supply over here, and there's one that you can't see very, oh, it's right here. There's a power supply. Heck, let me give you a closer picture of those build stations. Okay, so we got a power supply, you got a keyboard, got a mouse, I got an internet connection, goes down to this switch and down through the wall, lots of power, monitors. I use this as my setup frame. So it's just a box that the motherboard comes in. It's non-conductive. I can set the motherboard on top of the box, hook everything up, and you can't see it very well in this picture, but I've got all kinds of storage devices that I use for our particular project. There's a couple external 4 terabyte drives, and there's a little 160 gig drive, and there's thumb drives. But all this project, I can sit down in the course of a day after I do the first one. This guy, he's almost done. He's one step away from completion, and he takes about 24 hours worth of work to set up as a template. But once that template is done and the files are saved over here to this hard drive, I can do 6 to 8 setup computers per day. And so I'll have these things all done over the next week or so. It's a really fun project. We have to install the CPUs on all the motherboards, install the RAM on them. There's an M2 drive that we install. And when I get it all done, a lot of this stuff comes off and gets packaged up. So this little anti-static bag there's a pair of them there, is for the RAM modules, and this is for the motherboard. And let's see what else is around here. So here's where we pre-stage all of the kits and assemblies. So that we'll put the video cards in there and the documentation and hard drives and CD-ROMs and all the other accessories. Over here, we've got all the various different anti-static bags. This guy, you can barely see it over there. There's a scanner wand in there. So we scan all of the serial numbers of everything, and they go into the inventory list and the pick list and everything. Oops, I went backward. Click, click, click. But wait, there's more. My inventory shelves for building out. Not everything is here, but there's Intel CPUs. There's motherboards. Over here are the M2 drives. Tucked in there is RAM. And there's lots of other goodies that are here and lots of other goodies that we're waiting for. And when we get it all done, this is what it's going to look like. We've got real cases down here. There's monitors down there. And then all of that stuff fits beautifully into this vault case. The documentation of the motherboard go on top, and they get all sealed up and boxed up and shipped off. These ones, I think, are going somewhere in the Midwest. All right. So if you ever want to build a whole bunch of machines, you can do this in a nice assembly line process. It's a lot of fun. Screen sharing has stopped. Good. I didn't crash the system. Okay, so that's the setup for why I'm here. I have been working night and day prepping that stuff to get it all moving. And so that when the very last slow arrival thing comes in, we'll be able to grab them and assemble the whole thing in the course of a couple hours, get them boxed up and get them shipped out. So I am literally spending 14 to 16 hours a day doing my prep work and working on the machines and coming into the office all the time. And for that reason, and for one other horrible reason, I have done very, very little prep on what was going to be today's show. And when I say very little, there was some. I got equipment, I got it plugged in, and I've got it working, but I never wrote up a course for today. I do have another little project that we'll do that's kind of fun. So I thought, all right, well, I worked in here yesterday late, and I thought I can get home and I'll work late, do one of my midnight 2 a.m. jobs and write it all up and get it all fired up. At 9 p.m. last night, the transformer behind my house exploded. Didn't literally explode in fragments, but I actually happened to be on the back porch surveying the swamp that is our home right now because of all the rains that have been occurring here in Houston for about the last 15 or 20 days. And while I'm standing on the back porch, kaboom! This gigantic explosion just on the other side of my back fence, and this huge flash of lightning type light happened. And while it scared me, I knew exactly what it was. This has happened once 10 days ago and once previously. I didn't physically witness them those times. I heard them, but this time I saw it. So all the wet trees and wet branches and wet animals, they scurry across and bridge the terminals of the transformer. That shorts it out. It goes into shutdown mode with this gigantic, well, the explosion sound is whatever contacted the terminals vaporizing. And so this happened 10 or so days ago, and a crew came out and they clipped ostensibly all the branches and tree limbs and things like that that were nearby. I know that because they left them in my yard with lovely clean cut marks. Okay, well, that's nice. But apparently they didn't cut enough away. So the world held its breath. How long is this going to take? And you go online, 12 to 24 hours. Well, that's not enough time to prep. So my plan became, I'll take whatever I can down to the office, set up a studio, and do what I can. But I couldn't write last night. I couldn't do projects last night. I had no internet. So the project was utterly abandoned. And here I am with as much of my home studio stuff as I could cart, my usual computer, not using my office desktop computer because that would have been too experimental. And all right, you get the idea. It was a very long story to be very pointless, but so we're going to do something different today and it'll be okay. I'm going to do it kind of off the cuff, but it's something that I do very regularly. So we're going to have a little fun with that. Check the rest of my intro here and then we'll see who's online. The partner. So Scott's moderating the YouTube. Yeah, if you want to talk to Scott, by all means, post me. I see him responding directly back to a lot of people there. Oh, I love this one. I did do a little bit of work and research for a couple hours at night these weeks. And something dawned on me that this is the 42nd drama that we're doing. And I just love that because it's 42, right? The almighty answer to the meaning of life, the universe, and everything. So we're going to mark this one with a special occasion. Did that. I'll do that again later. On Fridays, we address all questions and we focus on Raspberry Pis. Yeah, so if you got quickie shorty questions, post them here on the YouTube. If you got longer questions, if you're shy for whatever reason, send us an email. You got the email address now, daveR@totalsem.com. Let's see, for what we're doing today, you know what? I don't know if the program that we're going to use today is exclusive to Raspberry Pi or if it's available for other distros. Somebody try out when we do this. A lot of you run VMs and other dedicated Linux machine. Do me a favor when we get there, and I'll try to remind you, just try and give this program either a run or an install on your distro, and we'll know if it works on other distros. That'd be kind of cool. Line stuff. All right, so yeah, let's go back and see what's going on in, lots of good stuff going on here in the chat. And I just liked and subscribed, so it went up. If you'll do the same, hit the thumbs up button. That would be really good for lots of other folks. We don't make any money off of this. It's just there to help other folks find our course, our AMAs. So Nigel got in, first one at 1:30, half an hour before show. Hope all is well down under. You were in the news lately besides mice, and I don't remember what it is. Hello, Andrew Hutz and Andrew DeGoyert. Zup. Alan Duggan. Good to see you again, me friend. I hope Jocko Taco's here. He just passed, I think, his A+. I saw that on Discord today. And we'll talk about Discord in a little bit. Nigel says at 1:57, I've actually been working on Linux all night, and then I was going to go to bed, but looked at the time and realized just over an hour to go, so I may as well stay up and catch the AMA. You are dedicated. I love that, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I think I would do the same. If I tried to catch an hour nap after an all-nighter, it would not be an hour. Tullowitz here, and so Scott immediately replies, Port 443 would have been a good WoW name. Holy Hannah, that's one I could have got behind. I like that. Merry Band, okay, but Port 443, that would have been awesome. It's secure. I know the lighting here when I look down is just awful. I'm doing my best. I can't change that. I certainly can't change it now. Sorry. It is what it is. This is the back wall of my cubicle. That's cubic with a C. Guys, I'm getting closer to getting a job. Nice. Get a job. You got certifications, or you're close on Sec Plus now. Oh, goodness. Are we going to do the Apple dance? I'm done with the Apple dance, okay? I don't actually have anything against apples. It's a fun game to play, to pick on them and play pick, but Apple is right for some people. It's very useful. It's not right for other people, but if it meets your goals and your needs, then I fully support it for you and with you. And apples suck. I didn't say that out loud, did I? Thanks. Yeah, I got to interview with the manager of the store, okay, and one or two of the supers. Good. Oh, yeah. The more interviews you get, the better things are looking. That's great. And they told me on the call what'll probably happen is, I'll get moved pretty fast from the sales floor to technicians. Okay, cool. Yeah, we're going, Nigel. Oh, there I go. See, we're going. I super scrolled. How far back do I have to go? Oh, good ways. Goodness. There's been lots going on here. I'm just now getting to 2 o'clock. Yes, Scott's exactly right. At 2 o'clock, you have a great speech. You'll be great on sales. You'll be great customer support, and you will certainly be effective communicating with your technician brethren. Still lemonade. I did bring that down. Okay, I'm heard. Hair is well camouflaged today. It kind of matches the flowers, doesn't it? The flowers that bloom in my head, tra-la, bring promise of merry sunshine. Yeah, let me hear you get that one, Tullowit. Hey, nerds, Patricia Grace at 2:01. Andrew thanks us, and everybody's saying to Patricia, you are number Nigel. Okay. Nigel, was the love heart for me? I hope so. Couldn't have been for me. Crazy Homebody Girl is here talking to Scott, wondering if you got my email. He will let you know, and or did. 3D printing pie cases has been a lot of fun. Good. What kind of 3D printer do you have, Andrew? We've got a pair of them here. The old ANET style one, the big square frame beast. And then we got that self-contained, totally enclosed, not totally enclosed, but much of it's enclosed from, I think it's a Monoprice, and have good uses for both of them. Cubicles. Yes, I am in the office today. Power failure at the house mandated a trip down here. My internet provider says I may have connection issues because I have 2 different names for my Wi-Fi radios and should combine in one name. Why should that matter? It should not. Your internet service provider is, I don't want to call him an idiot. The question here is, are you using their gear as the connection to their cable system? If it's cable, is it fiber optic, is it whatever? And it has built in a pair of Wi-Fi setups, one for 2.4 and one for 5. There may be something about their system that makes it happier if they both have the same SSID, which I think you're using for the term name. So I'm going to go with the maybe on that. However, for every dual band system that I have ever operated that's not, doesn't come from Comcast or AT&T or whatever. I use my own dedicated router, and I just use theirs as a pass-through box. All of my SSIDs are different. So I usually do an SSID, for instance, in my home. I'll tell you the name of my SSIDs. One is called ABD, and the other is ABD5. I don't want to bother with ABD24, because if it ain't 5, it's 24. So I doubt what they're saying is true, but I'll leave it to the realm of possibility again, because maybe there's something quirky about their specific hardware if you're using their specific hardware. So yeah, I know you brought that up with Mike on Wednesday, and good luck with that. Let us know. Try them with the same SSID, see if it works, then try them with different ones. Let's see, I did Crazy Homebody. I did at Crazy Homebody. Okay, sorry, I haven't responded, but he does every email. Scott's in the same boat as I. He's just utterly up to his hips in alligators with work. It's really amazing. We're kind of a brain trust here when it comes to writing. Mike researches, Scott researches. When they want some additional research and help, they put it out to the technical folks here on what we call the east side of the office. So myself and Michael Myers and some other technical people. And Scott, sorry, I just bumped my tripod leg and the camera went totally wonky. Sorry about that. It's fixed. So Scott has been posting some really deep esoteric stuff that, okay, I'll step away from TTS and do a couple of minutes of research. Really mangled it last night. I was driving home from the office. It's storming. I had to pick up the missus from the airport. So I had a car full of family, and I stupidly looked at my phone. I usually hand it to the missus or my son or something like that. See what this is. But Scott's got a deep technical question. Oh, man, I got to answer it. And I'm driving. I know it was dumb. It was stupid. And I've been a good boy about not doing that kind of stuff anymore. But okay, I got busted last night. I did it. Andrew Hutt's talking to Scott. He's talking about Apple. Jean Dorval wants to know if Scott got his email, and it was received. Again, so if you're sending emails to Scott right now, he will get to them. He doesn't ignore them, but he really is hip deep in his waders. GPU shortage is indeed brutal. Even we don't provide 3080s with these kits, but we don't do the most bottom end either. It's a nice mid-grade video card. Can't bloody get them. Jason Helms is here. What's up? Andrew, anyone who's looking for GPUs, make sure you aren't writing off AMD. Team Red has some great cards in this gen, and sometimes they're a little easier to grab. Okay, if you say so. I write off AMD automatically. If it ain't NVIDIA, it doesn't hold my interest. That's just, that's the holy war. That's Intel versus AMD. That's Radeon versus NVIDIA. I am definitely a partisan when it comes to those things. I like one of each of those better than the other. Apple and Intel. I'm sorry, Mac OS and Windows is probably the better argument on that. Because there's only one computer. I can't pick that one up and stick it in front of me. There's only one computer. It's a Raspberry Pi. Nope, everything's got its niche. That looks cool. Cool. I'm a bit late. Andrew Parrish, nice to see you again. Nice to see me again. Nice to be me again. Tellowit, those tables in a corner are exactly as I have my office set up for my PC. Okay, so it looks like tables. Here, I'll swing the camera over for just a second. I'm not watching real time. I won't be able to see it. Let me switch over to this view. You can't see what I'm doing, but I can. Zoop. I know, I'm sticking my fingers right there. It's a lamp. It's got a couple of shelves on it. We share a building with another facility, with another company, and that company controls the air conditioning on this side of the office. So I have to have that little fan down there, and it's roasting in here. I would turn it on right now, but got enough trouble with technology slamming this all together. You don't need fan noise added to it, right? Andrew, I'm running the 6800 paired with the 5600. My PC rips. Cool. I never argue with success. Jason Helms, not much, mate. Oh, checking. Okay. Scott, can't get on board with Radeon chips. Hey, Scott and I are of a mind on this one. That was my take at first, too, but they ran out of 370s. Yeah, they did. I blame the miners. Dave says Jason Helms at 2:15. If I could make it to Texas, I would love to come to Texas and help getting hand on doing stuff like that. Hey, if you make it to Texas, you got my email, you got my Discord. With that, we can arrange a direct contact, and I'll see what Mike can bless and what he doesn't bless and what we're going on. This is a project that happens a few times a year. It tends to happen in summer for schools and education institutions. So we get these orders late fall, mid to late spring, very early summer, so we can get them all put together, shipped out, and in the hands of educational institutions by the time school starts at the beginning of fall. So this one, I would have this thing done in 2.5 weeks from the time we started getting product in under normal circumstances. Right now, little longer. Andrew, I actually thought about NVIDIA GeForce 6800. Oh, Dave's at the company HQ, so bad company might be appropriate. Did I miss a bad company pun? Dave, drawing band logo on. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that would have been good. I was hustling out the door and didn't have time. Show whatever you had on the screen again, please. Nigel asking. Okay. Let's see. I had a couple things on the screen. I had Raspberry Pis, because they are a great third channel of computers. So we've got Intel/Windows computers, we've got Apple computers, and we got Raspberry Pi computers. Yeah, there's other, but I'll call these the big three. So that's one of the two things I had on screen. And then the other, somebody wanted to know something about the shelves that I had up. Yeah, the lamp near me. So, okay, spun around. There's the lamp and my cup of lemonade. God, don't want to do this really horrible. So there's a little lamp here with shelves and a fan, and I got today's Raspberry Pi sitting right here on this shelf. It's all wired up with short wire, so I can't bring it over in front of me. And do I dare show you the nightmare? Scott's not into showing nightmares, but I am. Yeah, you can't see it all very well. I just have a wreck of equipment over on my little credenza beside my desk, to my normal working stuff, and then all the junk that I had to add for today's events. Get out of the way, cup. You don't need to be there. I made a real pig's breakfast out of this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Okay. Got to get a little bit of that fan in there and shelf. Come on. And move the lemonade. Okay. We're back in business. It's not a clean office, but it is a clean view of the screen. Passing 217. Yeah, video card. Are all video cards hard to find, or just certain brands? Well, for all intents and purposes, there's two brands. There's Radeon, which is owned by AMD, and there's NVIDIA, and there are shortages of both, especially their high-end cards. Down here at the physical micro center, word gets out when a delivery of video cards comes in, and people start lining up at 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning to be first in the store to get one. Somebody told me they were down there the other day. They apparently got such a large shipment in that they advertise it. They don't usually advertise that they have video cards, but and supposedly people were going, not bothering to get in line, turning up at the store, and there were still some available to purchase. But of course, they were gone long before the end of the day. So maybe the log jam is breaking. Don't know. Yeah, I love Bad Company too, man. I went to their concert 2 years ago because I didn't go to any in the last year. Though I do have tickets for later this year on one and next year on another. I'm planning ahead. It looks like things are happening. Okay, so Scott posted at 2:20 the official invite to the unofficial Total Seminars Discord channel. So let's talk about that for just a moment. There exists a Discord channel called the Unofficial Total Seminars Discord channel. It's unofficial because we have nothing to do with owning or operating it. Total Seminars doesn't. It was created by our good friend Jose Braden as in response to an idea that somebody had a long time ago on Mike's AMAs that he does on Mondays and Wednesdays, 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock Central Time on this very channel, that said, wouldn't it be neat if some folks who hang out on his AMAs could get together and talk about the AMA and talk about the technology that was discussed in that AMA and maybe talk about other things. And Jose took that upon himself and said, I will make such a beast. And that beast has been growing by leaps and bounds ever since then. We've got over 300 subscribers to it right now. And people are on there every day, 24 hours a day, all the time. It's a great place to go to hang out, to ask technical questions, to provide technical answers of all kinds of technology. There's a Kali forum in there, and there's a Linux forum, there's a Raspberry Pi forum, there's computer tech help. There's lots and lots and lots of good stuff on there. Typically, after one of these AMA shows that Mike does or I do, one or several of us from Total Seminars gets on right after the show at 20 minutes or so with mics and cameras, and we invite you to do the same, and we can have face-to-face conversations. You can ask questions, you can talk about what's going on in your life and what color your dog is or whatever. And so we kind of extend this a little bit. It's a little saltier than we do here, perhaps. The language might be a bit saltier. But it's a nice place. It's a friendly place. We encourage you to go. So check out the current link over at 2:20 in the chat feed from Scott. It changes about once a week. And so if you're watching this later and you click on that and it says, this isn't valid anymore, that's okay. On that same page, there will be a continue or continue anyways page. And just click that and you'll get in. I pick on everything, says Andrew, and then laughed at himself. Andrew Parrish. Let's do, so we got Hudson Parrish in today. At 2:22, Andrew Parrish. If money and upgrading devices every few years is no concern, then Apple is perfectly fine. I will say I do like their hardware and software, but I switched back to Windows and not looking back. Okay. Yeah, again, the time and place for everything. I like the easy modularity of Wintel machines. I like being able to open up a tower case, pop out this slotted device, pop in that slotted device, upgrade RAM easily. It's not soldered in and it's not inaccessible. But I'm a tinkerer. There are people who want to compute and they don't want to get into all that tinkery stuff. And for that, Apple's a wonderful thing. Great video, great audio, great programs. And of course, they're going through transition right now as they switch to this ARM chip, this M1 chip. It'll have ups and downs until they get it solid. Nothing's ever perfect when it first comes out, but it certainly looks very cool. Yeah, okay, the Creality Andrew 3 Pro. I like that one. That's basically what ours is, except it's the knockoff version, the homebrew version. But it still uses the Arduino controller with the 2950 chip in it. That's totally wrong. But if you're into 3D printing, you know what I'm talking about. Let's see. Andrew got a sweet deal at Micro Center back when Creality was doing. There's been good sales on 3D printers at Micro Center lately, and I've been debating getting one for the house or if I should just borrow one from the office. Nobody's here. Nobody's using it. So I'll probably go that route until somebody says I need it or we need it back at the office. $100 off for open box. Yeah, good value. Okay, so you're using the Comcast Infinity's box. I'm not hands-on familiar with it. I actually got one because I was upgrading with Comcast, and then I got uncomfortable about something. It turned out I was wrong about it, but I turned it back in, went back to my old service, and then they wouldn't honor the the really great deal that they'd offered me. So I'm no good on that. Yes, today is National Cheese Day. Today is also National Hug Your Cat Day. Thank goodness. I didn't know it was donut day. I'll stop at Krispy Kreme on the way home. Emmentaler. Yes, love Emmentaler. Good stuff. I always thought Emmentaler was a TH. Reading questions 227, Andrew Parrish. Every day is donut day for me. I look like it, but I'm working pretty hard on it. Every day is pizza and donut day. As long as you get your bread products in every day. Remember the old grain pyramid? So you're doing grains. It's okay. Oh, the Build Lab. Okay. I can put that picture back up. I closed it. I never close an application. All right. Quick tour of the build room. This is where we're building a whole bunch of motherboards and kits that go around those motherboards. Click. So here's a couple of motherboard build stations. We construct the motherboards here, add the RAM, add the CPUs and fans and M2 drives and plug in all the stuff. And then we prep the installation of the operating system on the M2 drives. And then we archive them so because they're activated. So if the customer ever completely smokes it, we provide them with a backup on a thumb drive. But if the backup gets smoked and that gets smoked, we've got the an activated image of it back here. We can help them restore. There's the close-up view of it. Really? Yeah, there it is. So that's the box that I set the motherboard on when I work on it. It's non-conductive and nice and safe. And then the rest is just boxes and bags and the stuff where we put all of the completed kits in and the components as we're completing them. Over here is my rolling racks and my non-rolling racks. Somebody, believe it or not, somebody borrowed the casters off one of my rolling racks. I actually borrowed 3 shelves and the casters and made a mini one. So, but we got motherboards over here. I got a different generation of motherboards over here and piles of Intel CPUs and CD-ROMs and Wi-Fi cards. And these are webcams. There's lots of other goodies over here. Case locks, M2 drives. So that's our TTS build room. And then this is what they look like when they're all done, ready to close the lids and put them in shipping boxes and get them moving out. This kit, I think we had 21 kits in this one and turned them in about 2.5 weeks. Okay, that might be a little inaccurate. It may have taken us a tad longer. Okay. Oh my gosh, I was actually going to grab one of Amazon. Dave, would you be kind enough to show it again? So I decided to buy one. I hope I've shown you what you wanted to see. Oh, the lamp next to me. I'm not going to show it again, but it's about 5 feet tall. Has diffusers on the top and a traditional incandescent bulb with 1, 2, 3 shelves, the bottom shelf on the floor. No, I'm not going to tell you the story of where that came from, but it's a good story. I've told too many stories today already. I'm getting boring. It's a good lamp. And I love the little shelves on it. There's always something going on and off the shelves. Blame the miners, darn right. Okay, the other miners, not the ones from your school. Siegfried, good to see you, my friend. 232, good afternoon. I really like seeing your Pi Tower at the beginning of the show today. This one is really old. We've done Pi Towers as part of dramas. I've done them with 3Bs, 3B pluses. This is a stack of them. I had 7 or 8 stacks of 5 and 6s of regular 3Bs. They weren't 3B pluses. And I said, you know what, I'm going to sell those off and use the funds to purchase more Pi 4s. And I sold them all off. They all went eBayed and they all moved instantaneously. And then I was up in the room where I keep all this stuff and my regular lab. And I said, oh, wow, I missed a pile here. So I'll get this and I'll eBay it too. And I was taking close-up pictures of it. And I always take a close-up picture through this plexiglass to show the label of the model. And I looked at that and said, are you kidding? These are Raspberry Pi 2s. And I don't think there's a market for them. So it's a prop for me here in my desk. And when we get back into the studio and shoot more Net Plus stuff, when that course is done, I expect that to be a prop on the set. Because you can't tell looking at the way they're stacked up that these are 2s or 3s or 3Bs or whatever. Go look through the archives and do a search on cluster or bramble. I'm not going to stop my presentation here and dig through the thing, and you'll find the episode where I think we did it as a 3-part episode, certainly a 2, where we built a cluster of, the project was 3 Raspberry Pis, but I had a stack of 5, so I did it as a 5er. Reading messages, passing 233. Okay. For anybody who sent Scott an email, he got them. He will respond when he gets a little caught up on his projects. He's like me. We are, when we wake up, we start working on for ongoing Total Seminars projects. We have tons and tons of projects that are just eating up every minute of our time, and being able to move away from those projects to answer emails, do prep for AMA and drama is extremely difficult. He will respond. It'll happen. Good. Yeah, I think they're good too. I have had that thing here for quite some years, at least 5 years, however long we've been on this side, plus a year on that side. So I think it surprises me that that model is still available. I don't know who makes it. I don't know if it's IKEA or whoever, but we got it from another organization. Scott Jernigan, not sure if Dave ever checks out watch count for his past dramas. The last one is at 200 views, and most are just below that. Yeah. Right. We typically get around 200 total views. I do check. Not because I need to see the numbers, but because sometimes people post comments, after the thing is done, not in the YouTube, but not in the YouTube chat, but in the YouTube comment field. Some of them are worthy of deletion, and some of them get responded to. And I think it wasn't me, but somebody turned comments off sometime in the last 2 to 3 weeks. So it's no longer possible to add comments after the show is done. Sorry about that if you're one of the folks who's been doing that. Not many. The other miners, huh, Tullowit? Patricia Grace at 235 is talking to Tullowit. I have a friend who follows but can't make the live view. Yeah, that happens. Yeah, because you get people like Nigel who don't have the gusto and the fortitude to stay up all night long, and then in the wee hours of the morning continue to watch dramas and AMAs. Oh, wow, I really mangled that. Let's see what happens here. Okay. All right. As long as this is live, I'm good with that. There's an unofficial Discord channel, and if the manager of your local store is cool, he or she will post the presumed shipping manifest the night before. Nice. That's an unofficial, which channel? Is that for Micro Center? I didn't see the previous one that you're following that with. Okay, well, post it. Andrew Hutz, that's how I knew when to post up for my card. There you go. Oh, maybe that's where I read that. Maybe it was you. Okay, Patricia Grace, nice. Comments back and forth. Jason Helms, by the way, got Core 2 test set up for the 16th. Okay, wonderful. And today's the 4th, so you got 12 days, plenty of time to tighten up. And remember, tighten up for the next 16 minus 2 is 14, 13 days. And then take off that last day. Decompress, let everything kind of stew around in your brain. Mike's advice, and I think it's good advice. That's the plan. Yeah. So heat and pressure makes time, and you've got a date, you're going to do it. Longer Discord channel. Okay. And there's another Discord link if you're having Issues with the one that Scott posted at 220. He's posted another one at 238. Thank you, Scott. We can combine National Hug Your Cheese Day. No, I would smear cheese on my cat and hug it. Yeah, there you go. See, Scott's got it. We think of like culinary racks. Absolutely. What's the official name of those things? Metro racks. So they're used in culinary and they're used in all kinds of fields. I got black ones in my house and in the little warehouse for our side business. I built so many of those racks. Yep. Oh God, Tullowit, the Cheshire cat. Ban. Break out that ban hammer, Captain Scott. Where is the leg of lamp? Leg lamp. Oh God. Okay, that's the Christmas story thing. But I like the idea of leg of lamp. That thing is horrible. I love it. I want some more Pi 4s just to have them. Me too. Haven't done a cluster with Pi 4s. Hey, by the way, that super cool cooler that I got, the Ice Tower, is way down on price. I'm seeing them all over the place for 18 bucks. I ordered a couple more. Love them. Oh. These came in last Saturday. I got to stand up and walk away. I'll be here in earshot. Leave the mic on, stand by. I got to grab something. So everybody on Discord knows about these, but this actually happened on Saturday. So I didn't get a chance to share with anybody yet live and in person. Long story very short, I was able to order and get some Raspberry Pi Picos in. So I ordered a half a dozen of them. I haven't done anything with them yet. It would have been real easy and fun just to, when they came in Saturday, I could have ripped one open and just started soldering and digging. No, I got things to do. I got this project at work. And there are some tools and accessories that I want to get for it. So they've been ordered. None of them have come in yet. I'm not planning on doing Pico projects. Pico work is all about electronics and or coding. There's a couple different kinds of coding that you can do. There's micro Java, mini Java. Sorry, MicroPython or Mini Python, something like that is the official name for it. You can do C and C++ in here, but it's really about coding. But if I find a good project and it's worth your while, remember these are $4 plus a couple of bucks for shipping. 1995, Aggie, my man, is back. I haven't seen you in a while. Welcome home. You guys are great. Tullowit has to be your #1 fan. And likewise, we are Tullowit's #1 fan. I haven't been around during COVID, but I'm still checking in. Glad to hear it. And sounds like you're doing fine. I'm very happy about that. I just smoked a leg of lamb yesterday on the Traeger. Nice. After a small yard fire and an intensive cleaning. Best lamb. I love smoking lamb. Man, I love smoking lamb. I'm doing brisket again later next weekend. All right, caught up on questions. Hey, Recco. Good to see you again, amigo. I know you don't speak amigo, but that's what I do. Okay, caught up on questions. I'm going to scroll that back, 251. Let me check Uncle Outline here and then talk about what I can talk about. I didn't do any prep on this, but it's just a regular thing that I do, and I'm going to talk about what we do, what we're going to do when we get back to cameras. I don't see me doing a focused project next week either. I am just going to devote the entire week to my total seminars work. There'll be very, very, very little time for me to do any kind of prep for a show. So it'll be a Q&A kind of like this one. I'll find, again, just like this one, something that I do regularly we've never done a show on and is interesting. But it's not going to be a real big follow along project with links and videos and stuff like that. As a reminder, what we did last week, we did Nextcloud. Nextcloud is a knockoff for Dropbox, and it's really cool. It's a really easy installation the way we did it because we used a pre-built image. All we had to do was burn the image onto a micro SD card, update it, and then create the first account and the subsequent accounts and set up their rules and limitations. And it's a really, really fun and easy project to do. Your only challenge that comes after that, and we will do shows on these, is how to make it available to people outside of your local network. So you're going to maybe set up DDNS, you're maybe going to set up port forwarding, and you certainly want to set up a secure connection. By the way, the files themselves, when somebody saves them on your Nextcloud box, they are scrambled and they can't even be descrambled by the administrator. If somebody saves a file on a Nextcloud box that I built, there's no way for me to find out the contents of that file. As a matter of fact, I can't even get into that folder. So it's a very, very secure platform. Because I'm not at home, and because even if I were, there's a power failure at home, I was unable to port forward today. So the pyrsquare.zapto.org server is not up today. I'll put notice up. The power's back. It arrived back a couple hours ago. I'm not going to get home until late tonight. I'm going to work here after the show, finishing up the first master template computer. So I will put the word out on Discord and open it up for Saturday and Monday. And there won't be an archive for today's show because it's just Q&A. There's nothing to see, no documents to read. So, but it'll be there for anything that you want to get in the past. Reading my notes. Still waiting my my PoE Plus hat, which works on Raspberry Pi 3B pluses and Raspberry Pi 4s. And we'll do that as a show not long after it comes in. That's just a very cool thing. You take a Raspberry Pi that supports it. They got 4 extra pins on it. You plug this hat into that, and then you can use an Ethernet cable that carries power. So you'll need a PoE switch or a thing called a PoE injector. I'll show you all that stuff. And then you don't need a dedicated power supply for your Raspberry Pi. That means you can mount it in any place that you can run an Ethernet cable to, but that doesn't have a power outlet. So I've got, let's say, for instance, a shed out on my back property. It's less than 100 meters away, so I could run an Ethernet cable with PoE power on it out to that shed with a Pi on the end of it, and it would run in there. And that would be great for running sensors inside that shed, temperature sensors, because it gets really hot, or moisture, or light, who's breaking in, a door sensor, whatever. And all that comes over that Ethernet cable, and it's all running on a powered Pi. So I'm waiting for the new hat to come in. They've had a PoE hat for some time. The new one meets the new PoE standards, which is basically higher power. Okay, so the Pi controllers came in. I got breakout boxes coming in, and I've got breadboard boxes and header pins, and I've got my first project coming in, a MEMS device, which I'm going to use to turn into a microphone. And I'll describe that as we go down the road here. I did that. Oh, yeah, okay. So this is under news and tricks and traps of the week. We're coming up on the first hour. I don't have a long project. I got a quick demo that's 5 or 6 minutes. Yeah, you know, I've heard demos, they go 10 minutes, but it's just really easy today. And it's a fun little project. But I want to share this little experience with you. So among my many total seminars jobs, I am the moderator of our Udemy Q&A forums. Mike does some moderation. Some other folks do, but 99% of it's mine. And something happened a few weeks ago. Now, I've been using this Brave browser for probably coming up on a year, not quite a year or so. No, it's been more than a year because I switched to it before we moved out of the office here. So at least now. And I do all of my work on this moderation with my Brave browser. But 3-4 weeks ago, something happened. And I was no longer able to watch the lectures. So somebody posts a question that says, hey, at time mark 5:57, Mike says, can you explain that? Can you clarify it? Whatever. And so I would open up the video and go to time mark 5:57 and watch it. And I've got some context to answer the question. Then I type up an answer for the question. But suddenly I wasn't able to watch the videos. It would hang, it would hose. Then a message comes up that says, I can't play the video. It's been noted. We've sent an error message to the Udemy staff. And then a message come up that says download the video. And if I click on that, it doesn't actually download because you can't download videos from Udemy anymore. But what comes up is a tiny little 200 pixel wide piece of the show that Mike is on. And that's enough for me to watch it. And then if it's not, then real simple, I'll open up any other browser that I have, Chrome, Firefox, Mozilla, whatever, and everything works just great. So that's been my go around. If I have to watch a video and watch it in full, I got this browser with the user's question. I got that browser watching the video, then back to this one for answering the question. And I fought with it for a while, of course, but I just couldn't come up with the answer. And so last week, during Mike's show, a question came up that I had to research. And it's completely unrelated to any of this, but I'm at the forum that I was doing some research in, I saw a question and an answer that was kind of related to my issue. So bookmark that. Let's get back to it. So here's what it was and what I did. It's really kind of cool. Early this year, we did, maybe last year even, we did an installation of a Plex server on a Raspberry Pi, and then the following week we did a Kodi server on a Raspberry Pi. And the Plex server is a movie and television show service, and all of their content is digital rights protected. And the Chromium browser that ships with the Raspberry Pi doesn't understand that, and so it wouldn't play them. So as part of the project, I did a lot of research, and I found a way to make Chromium support DRM. We had to install into the browser a feature, an add-on, whatever they call it, called Widevine, one word, capital W, capital V. And once that's installed, the browser can play digital rights content. And I just didn't imagine that Udemy always had digital rights management in there, so it couldn't have been that. But whatever it was, somebody says, hey, I couldn't do this. Did you install Widevine? And the issue was Brave. And well, why would you have to do that? It's native in all the browsers. It's in there. But for some reason, deep in this advanced, insane menu, in a cryptically coded setting, is the ability to turn it on. And it must have been on in the past because it always worked, but for whatever reason, it was off. So I certainly didn't go in there. It's way too deep of a menu, and it's way too cryptic for me to have just turned it on without knowing what it was. So flipped it on, and bam, I'm watching videos on Udemy again with the Brave browser. So, and all it was enabling Widevine. So wacky stuff. So if you can't watch a video and you think you should be able to, check your browser. Did that. Because of the wonderful things we do. Okay. So I am done with my notes for the day. And now I'm just going to do something. I'm going to catch up on questions, and then we're going to talk about scrot or scrot. Let's see. We did questions. I don't run out of it. Picking up in about 251, smoked a leg of lamb. And of course, it's super scrolled. That's okay. Dave, missed my misery reference. I'm sorry. Tell you what, sometimes I just assume that it's going to be a bad pun when I see your name, and I skip right over it. So I apologize. Yes, I did miss the misery. I'll read them today. Kevin Lopez is here. Going to be 90 degrees in New York City this weekend. Welcome to Houston. Actually, it's not. It's been gorgeous here in Houston with all this rain as far as temperature goes, but enjoy it. Put some sunscreen on, put some SPF 50 and get on out there into Central Park, get a nice tan. Billy Idol approves. That sounds like misery. Exactly right. I have friends in Seattle. Perhaps some of you are in Seattle. I went to visit them and got a brother-in-law who was in Oregon. They don't have air conditioners. That is such a foreign concept to me. I don't care how cold it is. I think you got to have an air conditioner. Central air anyways. Hey, 301, a real question from Jason Helms. Dave, another question about Udemy. Say, for example, Mike shows a chart or something in the video and try to screenshot it. It blacks out screenshots, screenshots, I see what you're doing, but used to let us do that. Yes, I suspect that they have tightened up the DRM. Tellowit, for those of us who don't get my obscure or nerdy references, I footnote them in Discord channel. That's just overkill, amigo. They don't get them. They should research them, or they shouldn't get them. But that's my take on the world. Total Seminars channel, perfectly good assumption. Okay. I don't know who's using Total Seminars channel, but it's not me. All right, that catches up on questions. So let me talk about what we're not going to talk about today, and then we'll treat this one as, well, okay, since we're not doing that, we'll do this. Today's goal was using cameras in Raspberry Pi, and we will still do those. But I want to tell you a little bit about that. There are 1, 2, 3, let's say 4 essential cameras that you could install into a Raspberry Pi. By the way, I'm going to do a refresh on a screen here and get my video back in sync with messages. I should not disappear from you. I clicked it. I'll bet I'm still working. So Raspberry Pi, the organization, has 3 models of cameras. I see myself coming back, so it's all good. They originally came out with a pair of cameras. I don't remember their official names for them. Let's say PiCam and Pi Noir, N-O-I-R. And PiCam is a little 5 megapixel camera, tiny, tiny little lens, and it's a fixed focus lens. There's a way to adjust it a little bit, but you wind up boogering things up pretty good. And it's a fixed distance lens. It's a good mid-range kind of lens. It's no good at night, even if you provide good UV illumination. So for a night camera, they created the Pi Noir, Pi dark or black or dark. Yeah, dark, black, dark. There we go. And that has the UV filter removed from it. So otherwise, it's the identical camera. They come with a ribbon cable, a little flat cable. Excuse me, hiccups. I think it's got 32 wires in it, something like that. And there is a connector. I can't open this Pi enough, but there's a connector on the Raspberry Pi in the middle of it on the top that's designed for the camera. Is that true? Is it the middle one or the end one? Pi, what do you say? Because one of them is a troubleshooting one. Display, sorry, display. It's the one on the end here. And what you have to do is lift a couple of tabs, and then you slide the end of that ribbon cable into it, and then you press the tabs down, and that locks the ribbon cable in. Now, be aware that there is a connector like that on Pi Zeros. It's smaller. You need a different cable. So if you're ordering a camera with a ribbon cable, order it with either the one with the Pi Zero connector or the other Pi connector. And people have a lot of trouble with that one, breaking the tabs. You have to lift the tabs one at a time, very carefully, just a little bit, and kind of wiggle them up, in, wiggle them down to lock it in place. And then so you have this camera sitting on the end of a floppy little wiggly ribbon cable. So you need a mount for it. You can tape it to a little cardboard box, which is what I do. Or they make little plexiglass mounts and frames and sell them all over the place for a few bucks. You find them on eBay and Amazon and all the Pi supply stores. It's a nice little 5 megabit camera. And then early this year, late last year, they came out with a new camera. It's called the Raspberry Pi High Quality Camera. It's 12 megapixel, certainly higher quality. It has a removable lens and an adapter for 2 different kinds of lens mounts. So that's really cool. Otherwise, it's the same ribbon cable technology, but now you can put different lenses on there. You can put zoom lenses on there, and tons of projects. Let me tell you about a project I did with one of the old ones. You've seen this on one of my old shows. It wasn't a focus show. I just happened to do this one day, and I said, I'm going to take some pictures and show everybody. if you take one of the old 5 megapixels or even one of the new 12 megapixels and take the lens off it, it's doable. There's some glue that you have to break loose and you'll never get it back on. So it's a one-time thing, but the cameras are pretty cheap. What you can do is you can use your own lens to focus an image directly on the video sensor. So what I do is I put that on a mount that fits in my telescope eye tube. And then the image from the eye tube, the sensor is right where your eye would be. So we just focus that image right there on the sensor and then goes to the Raspberry Pi. And from there, I send it out the HDMI port. So I can put it on a 80-inch television and look at the sky on a big screen TV. Or I can use, one of the things that I did today, or will do today, is a screen capture utility and capture the image on the Pi itself. So really cool stuff. Another kind of camera that you can use on a Raspberry Pi is a standard stock USB camera. They work great. In the early days, they didn't auto-detect very well. You had to have drivers, but current version of Raspberry Pi OS does a great job at picking up standard cameras. And so that's part one. Install a camera, either USB or one on the display connector of the Pi. Next, you need a program to take advantage of that. Now, there's third-party programs that can use those natively, and there's two programs that come with Raspberry Pi OS. One is called Raspi Still. Take a guess. It takes stills of whatever you've got the camera and lens pointed at. And then there's Raspi Vid. And Raspi Vid is super cool because you can use it to do time lapse. Take a picture every 5 seconds or 10 seconds or 60 seconds or whatever, and then you can play them back in real time. You can do it the other way around. You can capture in double speed or other additional speeds, and then when you play them back, they're in slow motion. So that's all the kind of stuff that I'm going to show you when we do camera day. Today, I don't have a camera in this Pi, but there are sometimes I want an image of what's on my Raspberry Pi. And so there is built into Raspberry Pi OS a program called scrot, S-C-R-O-T. It's a portmanteau of screenshot. Hey, that makes sense. Oh, I got to do this. And I got to change that. My updated screen went from live chat. I still have timestamps. That's good. Okay. So let me entertain you by making a VNC connection with a Raspberry Pi that I built here at the office this very morning. I just grabbed a Pi and a micro SD card, threw it in my pile of stuff. And when I got most of the studio built, I said, okay, let's take a minute and burn an image of Raspberry Pi OS and update it to current. And that's where it is. So this is just a brand spanking new, shiny, fresh install. I called it CamPi, in case you see that in here, because it'll be used for when we do cameras. It's a Raspberry Pi 4B with 4 gigs, not because you need that for anything I'm doing. It's just because that was what was on top of the stack. Password here, standard password, RASPBERRY. I know you can't see it yet. You will. Okay, now share mode. That's over here and here. Click, and we're sharing. All right, I have a light in a place that I never have it in my own studio. Usually it's off over here and it shines nicely on me. It is full bright right in front of me. I can barely see my own screen, but we'll wing it here. So you don't have to install this program in other distros. If it exists for other distros, you can install it with, click in there, sudo apt install scrot. Hit the enter key and it'll load up. Try that or try sudo apt get on other distros. They don't support apt yet. Install scrot and we'll see what it does. So once it's installed, it's already running in Raspberry Pi OS. You type in the command just to see how it works. Scrot space minus, I guess scrot because it's screenshot, minus help. And this will give you the general syntax of it. It's not long, there it is. So the general syntax is scrot, followed by any options, and then followed by the file name that you want the screenshot to be saved in. If you do absolutely nothing, if you just run the command scrot with no parameters after, with no options, it will do two things. It will make a screenshot of your screen right now as it's shown. I'm going to do that in a minute. I never tried to do that with, I'm seeing myself in this corner. I don't think I'll show up there. But it'll make a screenshot. It will name it with date and time, and it will save that file as a JPEG in whatever folder you were in when you ran scrot. So you can see my folder here says tilde, so that means I'm in my home folder. So let's just do that. Nothing going on this screen. I'll say scrot, S-C-R-O-T, enter, zoom. We'll do an LS in here. And look, there's a brand new, oh, it's a PNG, not a JPEG, sorry. So here's the date. Here's the time, 15/15/44, resolution of it, and a file name. Now what happens if I run that again? I do another scrot. Well, the time is different now, right? So we do LS, and we see two different images. Now, if you want to look at the images, you go to your Raspberry Pi file folder, your file viewer, and you browse to the folder that holds your images, double-click one, and there it is. And you can advance through the slideshow. So that's cool. And of course, you can save these files to other computers, use FTP or use some other transfer protocol, and off you go. Well, that's great, except maybe I don't want to see the scrot program running here. Maybe I've got some program running. Let's open up another thing here, and let's run a program like htop. And I want to take a screenshot of htop while it's running. So I go over here, and again, if I do my friend scrot with no options, no fields, he'll screen shoot it just fine. Let's go take a look at it. Here's the new one. Oops, tried to rename it. Oh, okay, that kind of helpful, but not really, because I didn't want this to be in the screen. So close out of that. Let's just shrink this because we're going to be bringing that up again. So here's something I can do. How about scrot minus D for delay, followed by a number of seconds. I think I can do this in 5 seconds. And we'll let it make its own file name. So I'm not going to put anything else after that. I'm just going to say minus D space 5. And when I hit the enter key, I'm going to be ready to shrink this down because it's not going to take the picture until 5 seconds. So enter, shrink down, move my mouse, wait 5 seconds. Let's say I'm VNCing, so I'm not going to hear. If you were running this on your real screen and keyboard and had a sound source, you would hear a sound like a camera shutter. Now let's go take a look, see what we got. There's the new one. And there it is. So this is still up here. And if you want, if that's a problem, you can edit that out. Or, hey, wait a minute, there's really cool things I can do here. I can tell it to screenshot only on the window that I'm focused on. And there are switch settings that will allow you to include the borders or exclude the borders. Just show the insides. So let's take a quick look at a couple other parameters here. This is still available to me. Let's do a clear in there. Oh, I don't like that file name. Let's just give it a file name. If the last thing you do is give it any file name, and you can specify either PNG or JPEG, and the system is smart enough to know that if you specify JPEG, it'll do a low quality, a 70% quality, and you can change that, JPG file, or if you put PNG at the end of the file name. So let's do another screenshot. We're going to say scrot minus D5, and then we'll give it a file name, htop1.png. So I'm going to be ready to shrink this. Enter, shrink, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. By the way, I saw it here pop up as the top line while it was making that file. So that was kind of cool. Here's htop1. Looks the same as the other, not surprising. But. So screenshot. I'll show you a couple more parameters here. You can research this very easily with scrot --h. Oh, I'll tell you what I wanted to do. I want to install a program and take a screenshot of it. So we'll get the install going here in this screen. Sudo apt. I don't think this takes too long to install. Install Gparted. That's the partition management utility, the standard Linux partition management utility. Very powerful, very sophisticated, understands all of the common file partitions and system partitions. So we can fire that up when this gets loaded. Yeah, it's already done, and take a screenshot of it. I'll come back to that in a second. Looking for something here in my notes. Oh, isn't that clever? Okay. So this thing will do a lot of things. There are switch settings in here that will allow you to specify the corners, the upper left corner and the lower right corner of what you want to grab. The default is pixel 0 through whatever the highest pixel number is here, but you can specify row and column pixel to start, row and column pixel to finish, and capture any size windows that you want. Let's do a capture on a currently focused window, and we'll do it focused only. So I'm going to go into here, and I'm going to say scrot -u, and I don't know, I'm going to just call it installation. What I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on that installation program that we did here, installation.jpg. Yeah, let's make this one a JPEG. I got 5 seconds. So what I got to do this time is I'm going to hit the enter key. I'm going to shrink this, and then I'm going to click this to make this the focus screen. I think I can do all that in 5 seconds. Enter, shrink. That wasn't the right enter key, foolish man. Let me see what I accomplished there. I think I did it all too quick. Yeah, we got it. So this time, it doesn't show all of the screen background, all the desktop stuff. It just shows the window. And I can even add one more parameter. I think it's the -w parameter. And that would get rid of all of this stuff. And all we would see is the black contents here. Let me double check that. And if it does, we'll try it. Close this. Shrink that. Check my notes. Yeah, I had enough time to make some notes. Capture the whole desktop as the default. Selected. Oh, yeah. If you do -S and a time delay, you can click and drag what you want to get stolen. -D, -Q changes the quality. The default quality is 70% quality. You can say -Q 100 and get a super high quality. Here's a cool one you can do. You can add a -E followed by a program name. And what happens is the image gets created and then it gets passed to the program. So maybe GIMP. So it generates a JPEG or a PNG file and then launches GIMP and opens it up with GIMP. So that one's kind of slick. Grab the window border. It's not W, it's B. Oh, you can add -T. That will make 2 images, one full size, however big it is, and -T to make a thumbnail. Grab Sheen Chef and multiple windows and join them together. You can do that. Use your mouse to select a window. All right, I'm not going to read all that. I just wanted to introduce you to Scrot. It's a really great screenshot utility. I have used this before. Oh, we're going to do the Gparted one. We got to fire that up. Let me get my screen set up the way they ought to be. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to go to Graphics, System Tools, Gparted. So we'll launch Gparted, give it a password. Okay, so there's Gparted. I actually did this in for the last A+ book. Mike wanted a copy of Linux running Gparted, so I made 2 screenshots, one that was just on a focus screen like we did, and one with the entire background. So let's do that again. We'll recreate that scenario here. Let's see, this is the focus one, so we'll do a focus one here, and we'll call this Gparted 01.png. And I got to do enter, shrink, and focus. Enter, shrink, focus. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we'll presume that's done. And then we'll do it again. Whole screen. Gparted 02. Enter. Oops, I didn't hit the enter key. Enter, shrink, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off. And let's see what we got. There's the one with the screen focused only. And there's the one with, oh, yeah, it's got everything in here. We got to blow this up or zoom it over. It happened too quick. I didn't get the other screen shrunk in time. But great utility. Absolutely wonderful for making slides for presentations and just about anything else. So that's going to be our big showstopper of the day. Not next week, but the following week, I'll get back to cameras. And we'll do camera stuff. So cool. We got about half an hour left to do questions, topics, anything that comes to mind. Stories of your time in the Old West. Oh, my goodness here. All right. Pie Noir, says Tullowit. I knew the microcomputer was trouble. I love noir, and I love noir movies. So when they named it Pie Noir, I was a very happy guy. I knew that pie was trouble. It walked into my door, 9 o'clock at night. We were closed. How we got in, I don't know. Oh, okay. Did I super scroll? No, I didn't. There is a camera ribbon cable connector as well as display one. Okay, so it is the camera cable. Thank you for checking that, Tullowit. Hey, there were no questions during all that. I just installed scrot. On what, Nigel? On because it's built into Raspberry Pi OS, so did you do it in a different Linux distro? Can you assign an F key to take a scrot or the print screen? I don't know. Good question. I will take that and add that to my questions to answer for next week. Let's see, I can do that here. I can go into this. Questions 2. Oh no, there's only 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I see. Okay. Close that. Stand by. Go into my news area. Widevine, almost there. Oh, hey, there it is. Oh, that's weird. Oh my, that did something very weird. I can live with it. All right, save that, Control S, and I will come up with the answer to that. It's something I never even thought of. Okay, cool. So you can install scrot on Ubuntu. It seems pretty natural to be able to do that, but I wasn't sure. So thank you for checking that, Nigel. And I have used that while showing videos. Not suggesting that you try this with Udemy to take screenshots, but it seems like an interesting experiment if you were using it for legitimate and non-commercial purposes. Idris is here at, oh, wait a minute, just before Idris, Telowit, you can make it a batch to do. Yeah, right, you can do this. That's the way that people who don't want to use Raspi Still or Raspi Vid to do time lapse and things like that, then you write a little batch file program or a script, and then you can have this thing run continuously. Make sure when you build into your script, you build in a variable that advances the file name if you're using regular file names, and that's very easy to do. Okay, your videos on Udemy are enough as 17 from Idris Adebelli at 329. I'm not sure what you mean by as 17. But if they're enough, I'm a happy guy. But if you want to clarify that, or if you need me to answer something further, fill that in a little bit, please. Andre de Goyert, cameras. I love cameras, yes. Except you buy these cheap, broken down cameras made of tofu. Oh, 17.5 hours. That's a time. 5:50. There's 17 and a half hours of video. I think that's right for A+. We got a lot of video on that one. But I'm still not getting your question. If I'm not answering or if I'm not giving you what you need, and I don't think I am, just give me a full, complete sentence or question or a couple of sentences and see if I can make sense out of it. I'm sorry, I'm just kind of dumb here. Never mind. Scott has answered Idris. All is good. Thank you. Yeah, 2 A+ classes, 10:01, 17 and a half hours. There we go, 10:02, 15 hours. Thank you, Scott. That's great. And then at 329, Andre de Goyert says, all on a dedicated VLAN, of course, because of the stuff that you may be a little uncomfortable with. So if it's on a dedicated VLAN, Andre, that keeps it protected from other hosts on other VLANs on the local network. But if that VLAN can access the internet, then have you protected anything? So if you've got a totally isolated VLAN that doesn't talk to the internet, cool bananas. That means you got to have a host on that same VLAN, of course, to configure it and look at its contents and things like that. And there's a host of complication potential here. Oh, wait a minute, I've got my host on another VLAN. How do I talk to the host on VLAN 1 if I'm on VLAN 2? Well, you could do inter-VLAN routing, but then you've taken away the whole point of isolation that comes with VLANs. But my bigger concern is, does that VLAN that the cameras that you're not fully confident with in their security, if that can access the internet, then the VLAN has done nothing for you. However, firewalls would. Okay, Idris, but I just don't know. That covers all the topics in 10:01 and 10:02. Okay, that one I have an answer for. So the courses that we have on Udemy, they don't cover every single micro objective. What Mike does is he curates the objectives, the feedback that we get from people who have tested the stuff that he knows is important and believes is important for students to know, both to prep for the exam and to be real world good technicians. And he's created a course around that. So that material is enough to pass the test. And we know that because literally tens of thousands of people have used the 10:01 course to pass the 10:01 exam and the 10:02 course to pass the, okay, thanks. Oh, I'm thanking somebody on the back channel, but she's not on the same back channel we are. So tens of thousands of people have used the Core 2 class, course to pass the Core 2, the 10:02 exam. Now, if you are coming in with zero background, I never opened up a computer, I know nothing about a USB port, you may be able to pass with that. But what most folks with very, very, very little background do is they get Mike's book, the companion book, all in one book, Certification Test Prep, I think is what it's called. Mike Scott will give us the correct, accurate title. and they use that to augment. And what happens then? First question everybody asks is, how should I use the book? Should I read the book first and then watch the lectures, or should I do it the other way around? Should I do them all at the same time, read and do both courses at the same time? The answer is none of them are better than others. It's all about your learning style. But here's the usage of the two different resources. Videos have one usage and books have one usage. The book provides the depth and the breadth of background for people who don't have any experience. So everything that you need to know about literally every objective, every micro objective that you probably won't get a question on, that's all in there. So, and then the videos give you the stuff that's focused primarily on stuff that we know is on the exam, stuff that we know is hard. So Mike teaches in great detail to get over that difficult stuff. And so you can use the book for background and depth, use the videos as test prep, do them in either order, makes no difference. But again, if you've already got some background, you understand, if you basically got a year of hands-on supporting computers, I've been inside my computer, I've played around with the fix-it utilities that come with Microsoft, then the lectures may be enough. Now, one other thing, Mike thinks, and we support him fully in this, that it takes 3 resources to really prepare for a CompTIA exam. You need a good book, like the Mike Myers A+ all-in-one certification prep book. You need good videos to focus down and drill down on the stuff that you really need to know to prep for the exam. And then number 3, study for the exam, practice tests, right? So we've got some practice tests available on Udemy. For Core 1, there's a practice test set with 90 question tests in there, total of 270 questions. And then there's another set of those for the Core 2 class. We have Total Tester available at our TotalSem website, totalsem.com. That's got over 1,000, 1,100, 1,200, something like that, practice test questions that covers both 1001 and 1002. And that's a really, really cool program because you can set it up in a number of different ways. Random, set it up so that it asks you the same percentage of questions from the 5 domains as you would get on the real exam, and a lot of other potential timed, untimed tests. So something to look at. So book, videos, practice tests. And you don't have to use our practice tests. Ours are good. We love them. We're proud of them. They help people pass tests. But there's some other good products out there. And as long as you're finding out what you know and finding out what you don't know, that's the whole point of a practice test, right? So you can find out, why did I get that wrong? Why don't I know that answer? To go back to your original study materials, our book, our lecture, somebody else's if you're using that, and learn that. And one of the other really cool things about our practice test is our explanations. Our explanations not only confirm why the right answer is right, but they explain why the wrong answers are wrong. So it's kind of a learning tool. Okay, soapbox, pushed away. Hope that helps. Lunchtime almost over. Yeah, me too. I got 22 minutes of lunchtime left. It can't enter the net, says Andre. Okay, at 3:33. I don't want others to see what happens in my yard. Oh, I thought this might have been the one you were talking about over at the range. Okay. Tell it, I get that reference. I suddenly feel the need to visit a dentist. Hey, Elbow, long time no see. Haven't seen Alex, so you are safe. Scott retracted his message. He was probably answering the same thing I did, and I made mine 40 minutes longer than his would. Well, when we see Alex later, we'll tell him you were here during lunch. Passing 326, Andre saying hi to Elbow. You're alive. Man, Chaco didn't come up. I really wanted to do a voice congratulations on his test pass, but okay. Elbow, I have vacation next week, so I should, in theory, be able to attend the streams more. Enjoy your vacation. I hope you get to travel someplace, but if not, this is a pretty good place to travel. This and Mike's show, of course. Good. Happy to help, Idris. Excellent. It'd be good to have one of the old timers back. Nice. All right. I'm caught up on questions. If you have questions, now's the time to post them. I'll spend a couple minutes more here Refreshing on those, I'll stick the contact information up again real quick and the Discord info. Scott, if you would post the Discord link one more time whilst I put this up. And if we get no more questions and we're dry, I'll take a page out of Mike's book and cut her short early today. Screen share. All right, so if you're watching this on the archive and you didn't want to watch the beginning because it was TLDR, too long, didn't read, I am Dave Rush, Senior Instructor at Total Seminars. We do these every Friday from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock Central Time, live, taking your questions. But if you're not here live, you're watching it on the archive channel, you can email me if you got questions at daver@totalsem.com, or my good friend, thank you, Scott. Scott just posted the Discord link. You can talk with Scott or email him. He will get around to your email messages. We're both a little backed up, as is Mike Myers, who will take your emails as well. But catch up on Scott, scottj@totalsem.com, or write Mike Myers himself personally, the big man, not the guy who plays Shrek, but the guy who writes all the best CompTIA books in the industry and makes the best CompTIA videos, and one heck of a cup of French press coffee. You can catch him at michaelm@totalsem.com. And Scott has posted the Discord link. Yes, I will do Discord. I've definitely got a pre-pack up here so I can, well, rush hour is starting now here. No rush hour, hour and 15 to hour and a half for me to get home. So I'm just going to keep on working here until rush hour is done and I can get more done on kit building. But give me a couple of minutes to put my life together here, and then I'll join over on Discord. It's Friday, so I'm sure Scott has a publishers meeting and Mike does. But maybe if it's not too long, he'll pop in and do a quick visit with us on Discord afterward. All right, shrink that. Oh, was there anything else on this slide worth doing? No. Again, I'll put the pyrsquare.zapto.org server online tomorrow morning. There's nothing to get from today's show, but there's old stuff that you may want to download archives from. Not archives of the videos, but archives of the notes and the slides and the pictures and the flow charts and the graphics and everything else that I use to prep these shows and use in the shows. So if you're interested in any of that, especially the step-by-step labs for many of the things that we do, those are pretty darn cool. So I'll get that going tomorrow morning. It'll be running all day Central Time, and then I'll fire it up again on Monday. So it'll be up and running all morning and during Mike's show until bedtime. Then I'm going to have it shut down until next week's show. Again, next week's show, very much like this week's show, I'm going to pick some relatively simple little demo project because I am just up to my elbows in this project that we've got to get out as fast as humanly possible, notwithstanding supply chain issues. So apologies, there won't be much time to prep a good show for you. But the week after that, I should have everything under control, and I can slow pace it a little bit enough that I'll prep the camera show. And I'm telling you, I'm really looking forward to that show. It's a lot of fun playing with cameras on Raspberry Pis, and we'll do what Tullowit had asked. We'll try and we've done a Zoom session on there with, I don't remember if I used a USB camera or a Raspberry Pi camera, but whatever we did, we'll do both. And we have done Discord on a USB camera on a Raspberry Pi. I didn't do it as a course. We just, hey, here, check this out. We installed Discord. Now let's try it. I'll plug a camera in, and good golly, Miss Molly, it works. All right. Reading questions, passing 340, elbow, I'm getting old, spending money is simultaneously getting less and more exciting at the same time. I hear you. I totally hear you. Tullowit at 340. One of the cool things about Labist's Pi case is the threaded connector for a tripod. That is, and I've seen a lot of people who are making holes and then threading them on 3D printed ones too. Jason Helms, way younger than you. Scott and I have most of you. I didn't do this with, during one of Mike's shows last month, not in May, but April, and that's as much as I'm going to give away. I celebrated my 58th. I don't know if I celebrated it, but I marked it. But I didn't point it out to anybody. But now time has passed and we can all forget about it. Spending money on cool toys is why we work in the first place. Well, that and our kids' tuition. Although I'm excited to spend like 15 bucks on cheap gaming mouse to replace my current mouse, but I also don't want to. $15 gaming mouse. That's an oxymoron. There is no way you can get a mouse that you would say, yes, this is a gaming mouse for 15 bucks. But good luck. I hope you're right. Yeah, rush hour. Both of them. All right. So Scott's doing his pre-goodbyes. That's like a nudge in my elbow. Go ahead, close it up early, Dave. Then I could be on time for my meeting. Wow. So yeah, don't forget, Tolowit and Mike and Scott and a bunch of other folks have put together a WoW server, right, for WoW Classic. He'll put the name of the server up here, and the name of their guild is Merry Band. I don't know if it's the Merry Band or Merry Band. Mike has been looking for a way to get all of the folks who participate in these AMAs to get together and do a little gaming. And so it was determined that something that doesn't take up too much computer resource, that anybody on just about any computer can run and still have a good time, they picked WoW Classic. Don't go into WoW, but if you want to pick up a copy of WoW Classic and join the guild on the server that Scott has probably just posted, Pirate something, if I remember right. And Tolowit can post that, of course. Merry Band is the name of the WoW guild. There we go. Then please do. Wow, am I that much of a burden? No burden at all. Nobody here is a burden, and I'm happy about it. Andre, a lot of fun just playing with cameras. It is. It was really a complete drama. Thank you. Yes, I'm ancient. Looking for the big birthday party at 6. I'm not into birthdays or birthday parties, but somebody will probably do something very nice for me for a benchmark birthday like that. Not Rush, Rush with the capital. Yeah, both of them, the group and the hour. Okay. And the guy. Andre, I've got a Battletron gaming mouse. Costs 20 pounds. That sounds very heavy. You'll probably want a lighter mouse than that. You're not going to be able to get sharp, short movements with that. Oh, see what I did there? A little pound money joke. Yes, wow, please join us. I'm thinking of doing a cheap gaming mouse roundup video, as if there weren't enough. Oh, yeah, make sure you do an open box video. So I open up the box. Here's the mouse. Here's the manual. Here's the driver. That's awesome. Open box video. Sorry, I'm not in open box videos. I know some of you are. Just not my nape of the neck. Merry Band, name of the guild. Blood Sail Buccaneers is the WoW server that they're on. And I gather that's one of the few WoW Classic servers that's left running. Not pounds, euros. Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. That was a euro. Well, Europe is still very heavy, too. So the only thing keeping me from doing it is I'm not much of a snob. So, oh, I'm not going to read the rest of that. ASMR mouse, unboxing, absolutely. Okay, well, we look pretty well dried up here. It's about 10 till. We'll close things down for the day. Let me go over to something here that I need for my own. I have 2 projects. I'm making headway on one of them, not this week, of course, but I mentioned, I didn't tell you what it was, but it's a very cool project. And if and when I get some breathing room, I need about 3 days, 3 nights worth of evening time to get this, what I believe is going to be an awesome and amazing fun project that will incorporate into the AMAs. So that'll be cool. And when it's done, I'll share it with everybody. You can, if you like it, you can do it yourself. Meantime, I would like to, I think I'm kind of changed up my closing here. I'm not going to do the good night thing anymore. I got a little better game in town. Oh, I do have to get this prepped. Somebody the other day came up with a really good idea, a solution to a minor problem that I was encountering on these AMAs. And so I tested it today. So far, so good. Brilliant suggestion. If I open two different YouTube tabs, one that I'm watching myself and the YouTube feed on, and the other that I use to control the feed to start it and stop it, and then I update one screen or the other, it syncs up the logins with them. So sometimes I'm logged in as Dave R, sometimes I'm logged in as Total Seminars channel, and one has one use and one has the other use, and I can't have them be both the same thing. And as I pointed that out, that happens, somebody, maybe Tuluit, maybe somebody else said, when I do this, I use a totally different browser and open up in that and then use the primary browser for this. And I thought, well, what a good idea. What a smart idea. So that's exactly what I've done. I've been able to refresh my screen without it resyncing or relogging in as the other account. And if you're here, whoever had that great idea, many thanks. It's worked. It's been a real treat. So a couple other questions here slide up. I'll catch them real quick, and then we'll do our closing thoughts and shut down. Yeah, a couple of them. Better to be dried up than all washed up. Have a very good weekend. Yeah, all right. So that's where I'm going with this. Let me get this other browser ready to do the shutdown. So as ever, many thanks to Mike Myers for allowing us this time to get together, talk about projects, talk about Raspberries and all the other topics that come up here. Many thanks to Michael Smyer for his efforts and research in the background when he's working with us, and certainly to my partner in Pi, Scott Jernigan, chief editor of Total Seminars and many other hats to wear, and writer and everything else, and manages to cut away, even though he's probably not supposed to these days, a little time each week to work the back channel here. Scott, can't thank you enough. And by the way, I sent you a message on our back channel the other day with gratitude for the bike that we got from you and the information. It came in just invaluable information and useful, as we picked up a same manufacturer bike for the son's birthday this year. His birthday isn't for another 2 months, or a month and a half, but we couldn't resist giving it to him now because he's just home for the summer and he doesn't want to take it to school. He took a bike to school in his sophomore year, and it was stolen within weeks. And this is a good high quality bike. There's no way we're going to risk it. So he's riding it like crazy already through the summer. And many thanks to Scott, not just for your efforts here, but for that. This has been Dave Rush, and I'm wishing you a great weekend. Take care of each other. Take serious steps to stay healthy. Call your parents. Visit your parents if it's possible. And never forget, technology is great, but the greatest resource we have are you and I. And so with that, I will bid you good night.